Welcome everybody, this is Alan with Daily Armor of God. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're all doing well. This is the third video in my book-by-book Bible study of the Old Testament. And today we will be reading from the Poetry and Wisdom books, so the next 5 books in the Old Testament. Now, in the last video we went over the historical books. As always, little background on the Old Testament. It contains 39 total books, and I put in here a few more little facts. 929 chapters and 23,214 verses. Wow, can you just imagine? 929 chapters, 39 books, 23,214 verses. That's a lot. Old Testament is pretty long, and it is divided into 5 sections, which is what we've been going over. So the first video in this series is the Pentateuch or Torah, which includes 5 books. The next one in this series is historical, and that includes 12 books. We are on the Poetical Wisdom books, which have 5. Next video will have the 5 major prophet books, and finally, to finish off the Old Testament, the Minor Prophets, and that has 12 books. So let's get started, shall we? The first book in the Poetical/Wisdom group is Job. Now, I'm sure you all know Job. It's about a wealthy man of God who loses everything except faith. Chapter outline is as follows. Job is tested in chapters 1 through 3. Job's friends show up in chapters 4 through 31. And Elihu's speech in chapters 32 through 37. And then finally, God's answer in chapters 38 through 42. The author is uncertain, but some scholars believe that it's Moses or maybe Solomon. And it takes place in an unspecified time, in an unspecified land. It's just called the land of Uz, or Uz, but nobody actually knows where it's at. Key characters, key people: God, obviously, Job, Job's friends, and Satan. Summary is that God allows Satan to test Job's devotion to him by taking Job's family, his wealth, and his health. Job's friends then try to reason why it has happened, but then God vindicates Job and restores what Job has lost. Now, that is a very, very direct summary that I wrote there. I highly, highly suggest everybody to read Job, like the whole entire thing. Don't skip around. Actually, I highly recommend you read the whole entire Bible, but Job is such a great, great book. Read Job for a vivid picture of how we must trust God, even in the face of great suffering and trials, even when they make no sense. So if you're going through something in your life that makes no sense, give thanks to the Lord. It says in the Bible, give thanks in all things. In all things give thanks. In all things pray. Pray without ceasing. So we may not understand why bad things are happening to us, but we always have to pray and thank God, and think, what is God trying to tell me in this situation? What is God trying to teach me in this situation? Always be patient and wait on the Lord. Key verse here is Job 1:22. In all this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. So Job did not lose faith in his trials and tribulations. He got upset, sure. I mean, it's not saying that you can't get upset, but you should remember that God is in control. He knows what's best, and there is a reason and purpose for everything. A great, great book. Next up, Psalms. I mean, I don't even know what to say about Psalms, because it's just an amazing. I read one chapter of Psalms, one chapter of Proverbs every day. I love Psalms. Psalms is probably my favorite book of the Bible. It's a compilation of songs, praises, and poems. And as for the chapter outline, it's pretty basic. The way it's summarized is just book 1 in chapters 1 through 41. Book 2, 42 to 72, Book 3, 73 to 89, Book 4, 90 to 106, and Book 5, 107 to 150. So it's really only divided by books. So nothing really nothing fancy. But at the same time, there's so many great poems, praises, and songs. Author is David, Asaph, the sons of Korah, and others. Between 1000 to 300 BC. And I said this in my other video, but these dates are all approximate. I checked multiple sources for every single book of the Bible that we've done so far. And every single source, it's slightly different. So these are approximate dates. It takes place, or it's written in Israel. And key people, David and other writers. So, Psalms is a collection of 150 standalone compositions of laments, prayers of thanksgiving, hymns of praise, and songs of trust. You should read Psalms to know more about God and be encouraged in your faith. Psalms is a must-read. I mean, I could go on and on about why you should read Psalms, but I'm just going to tell you, you must read it. It will encourage your faith. It will strengthen your resolve. It will bring you closer to God. Read one chapter of Psalms every day, one chapter of Proverbs every day, and I guarantee you, you will start feeling better. Key verse. Now, there's so many verses in Psalms that I love. So many. So I just picked one that I felt is a good representation. I mean, there's so many. I can't even tell you how many verses there are that are so good in Psalms. You can pick out, at least 5 verses in each chapter. And before you read, pray. Pray that God will speak to you and give you discernment so you can understand. And He will. I mean, I love Psalms. I just can't tell you enough. So, our soul waiteth for the Lord. He is our help and our shield. Just that one verse alone is so encouraging. Our God, the creator of the universe, is our help and our shield. What an amazing, amazing verse. Also, you can't go wrong with Psalms 23. The Lord is our shepherd. We shall not want. Amen to that. Moving on to Proverbs, another great book that we all must read. It's a guide to godly living and wisdom. Chapter outline is Lessons in Wisdom in chapters 1 through 9, Proverbs of Solomon 10 to 22, Otherwise Sayings in chapters 23 and 24, Solomon's Sayings in chapters 25 and 29, other Proverbs in 30 and 31. The author is Solomon, with portions by Agur and King Lemuel. Written, or takes place in the time in the 900s to the 700s, somewhere in there. Again, it's approximate. In Israel by Solomon, or Solomon is a key person in the book of Proverbs, and it is a list of instructions for Solomon's son, who is not named, but then it turns into a collection of advice, wisdom, experience, and justice. Following after God and turning from evil is a key theme here. So you should read Proverbs every day, one chapter every day. Read Proverbs for all kinds of practical insight on interacting, working, speaking, having success, relationships, by living holy and being wise in all you do. And how I'm going to give you my favorite verses in the Bible are in Proverbs. And this verse is just number one, my number one. These 2 verses, I should say. And it's Proverbs 5, 6, and 7. So Proverbs chapter 5, 6, and 7. I actually wanted to put 8, but it wouldn't fit. So, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy paths. I love it. I'll just read you verse 8. I really wanted to put on here, but like I said, it didn't fit. So, verse 8, Proverbs 5:8 is, Be not wise in thine own eyes, fear the Lord, and depart from evil. So, those are my top 3 favorite verses, Proverbs 5, 6 through 8. You should definitely highlight those verses. They've stuck with me forever. And you should definitely read Proverbs and Psalms every day, along with your normal reading plan. I highly recommend it. Next up, we have Ecclesiastes. It's an honest look at the emptiness of life apart from God. Chapter outline is the meaning of life in chapters 1 through 2. Life is not always fair in chapters 3 through 6. Wisdom in chapters 7 and 8, no one knows the future in chapters 9 through 10, and obedience to God in chapters 11 and 12. Now, the author is uncertain. Some people think it's Solomon. Around 971 to 931 BC in Israel. And the key person here, it says in Ecclesiastes 1:1, the preacher, son of David, king in Jerusalem. And Ecclesiastes is about, well, it outlines how everything is meaningless without God. It asks the question, what is the purpose of life? It also looks at how you can have everything, but without God, it is all for naught. This is a book that will make you think. It has very, very good points, and you should all read it. It's a great one. Read Ecclesiastes for a powerful reminder that any life without God is not a life at all. Key verse, to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Such a great book. I love it. I love all these books, actually. Everything that's in the poetry and wisdom section. Next up, we have Song of Songs, or otherwise known as Song of Solomon. It's a book of passionate love. Chapter outline is the courtship in chapters 1 through 2, the wedding in chapters 3 through 4, and the lasting relationship in chapters 5 through 8. The author is attributed to Solomon between 970 and 930 BC in Israel. Key people are the lover, who is Solomon, and his bride. So Song of Songs, Song of Solomon, is about a book of passionate poems that celebrates the beauty and joy of committed and intimate marital love. This could also be a reflection of how Jesus Christ views his church, with Jesus being the bridegroom and the church being a pure, spotless bride. Basically, it reflects, I feel like it's a reflection of Jesus Christ's love for his church. Yes, it is about, speaking of, love, in many ways, but I think also it can be applied that it's a reflection of Jesus Christ's love for us, the church. Read Song of Songs, Song of Solomon, to glimpse what God's great gift of marital intimacy and affection is like. And the key verse is, many waters cannot quench love, neither can the floods drown it. If a man would give all the substance of his house for love, it would utterly be contemned. Song of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 7. So, that was it for the 5 poetry and wisdom books. Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out the next video, which is Major Prophets. So 5 major prophets. And be sure to check out the last video if you haven't seen it, which is the historical books. It's a little longer, but it's worth it. It's the history, all the history categorized here. So this little chart is a great tool to remind us which books are in what section. So then our last video will be Minor Prophets with 12 books there. So like I said, be sure to check out those videos if you haven't seen them all. I will put links down in the description. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a good evening, morning, night, wherever you're at. And as always, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Take care. God bless. Remember, put God first in everything you do. Have faith in him. Have trust in him. And also, be sure to read the Bible every day. It is our daily bread. And especially, I can't recommend it enough, read 1 Proverbs and 1 chapter of Psalms every day. And you will start to see a difference. If you feel compelled to read more than 1 chapter a day, then do it. Do it, and always pray beforehand that God will speak to you through his word, and he will. Thanks again. God bless, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.